I can't watch new movies anymore. And it's not because sword fights aren't any good. They're better choreographed than they've ever been. And it's not because actors today don't have gravitas, because there's still a bunch that just ooze charisma. And it's not because movies don't have gratuitous nudity for no reason other than it's awesome, because we got the hub. Few movies are perfect. Even fewer movies were perfect. Bombed at the box office. And were still so good that they spawned an entire cinematic universe that kind of wasn't perfect. And new movies don't get it. They keep trying to get me to like communism. Pro tip, commies are the devil and they deserve the copter. Everything now is funded by Chinese money and NGOs, and they all have this vision. It's a creative vision that you've come to expect from Timu communism, and now I'm old, I'm tired, I'm worn out. I don't feel anything anymore. And then I watched Highlander, and it made me feel young again, and so can you. Came from a group called Canon Films, which are kind of popular amongst the movie niche. This was a production company that can't come back. And it's not that we won't bring it back, it's that we can't. We've lost the economics, we lost the technology. So this movie cost 20 mil to make, and it made back 12 in the box office. In 2025, Year of Our Lord, this would be a failure. Because movies needed to double their budget in box office revenue to break even, generally. And the reason movies like this aren't coming back anymore is because the economy sucks, technology is too good, and the communists have come back with a vengeance. So what do I mean? I mean, you see this movie in itself, it didn't do great. But what you don't see in these numbers are video sales. You don't see rentals. You don't see syndication on late night TV. And you don't see the value in the IP that they took a risk on making a new thing out of thin air. And all of these things together gave it a second wind. And Canon is notorious for making a ton of cheap films that turn a decent profit with the occasional blockbuster. But now, what do you have? You have Netflix, and they pay nothing for movies. So small productions like this just aren't economically viable. And this was peak cinema, and it's never coming back. We truly didn't know how good we had it. And the problem is, the mythos. It's kind of overtaken things with this. Like, everybody uses Highlander as the movie you tell your friends is perfect about. There's like 500 videos on YouTube of people saying it's the perfect movie. But I'm convinced that the movie nerds haven't actually watched the damn thing, and that they're just using the safe opinion that everybody else has, because they don't even understand. It's not a great movie by movie standards. It's perfect, but it breaks the rules of storytelling on film. It is the visual representation of a great book. Things like this shouldn't be possible.
Hi, I'm Candy.
Of course you are.
Do you like high fantasy? Do you yearn for a movie about immortal gods fighting over the fate of the future?
Don't ever speak to me again.
Do you need immortal punk rockers and barbarians with skull helmets in the same movie? Do you love when a movie decides to just be perfect? How about a rock opera with gratuitous nudity for no reason other than it's awesome? I have the story for you. Simple and effective stories. Stories perfectly told. Stories that make you feel something. You haven't felt something in years. You're tired, worn. This movie will make you feel again. By a director, some Aussie bloke who they only trusted with Duran Duran and Elton John videos, comes a movie that had no business being as good as it is.
These guys must have had pecs like this by the time they were finished. And finally I realized what movie Highlander reminded me of. And all those other movies that are collections of all the great high points from dozens of movies, one high point right after another with nothing in between. Take away the high points too, and you have Highlander.
I thought I'm in for a fabulous time. I saw this movie under the greatest conditions that I've seen a movie in a long time. It is one of the lousiest films I've ever seen in my life. It made no sense whatsoever as it's
Completely silly and very boring movie.
What the?
A movie that everyone calls perfect, but I'm positive that almost no one has actually watched it. This ends here. It's the pinnacle of high fantasy in modern times. If you loved Sean Connery, Christopher Lambert, hand-drawn special effects, and classic canon in an amazing movie, this Bud is for you. It's the little engine that could. It's the brave little toaster. It's Highlander, 1986. Here we are. There can be only one, but 5. And 3 TV shows and a cartoon and like 9 books.
Good night, my buddy Heather.
But what storytelling am I talking about it breaking? Well, it's the hero's journey. So for example, you got the characters. You got Connor MacLeod, played by Christopher Lambert. He's a French actor playing a Scotsman. He's kind of, the only thing he has about him is Riz. Like, there's not really a fleshed out, in-depth character. And then you have Ramirez, his teacher, played by Sean Connery, an Egyptian played by a Scotsman. You have Kurgan, who's Clancy Brown, and he's just evil for the sake of being evil. He knows the contest and he just wants to win. And then you have Brenda Wyatt, played by Roxanne Hart. She's cute and she likes the sword, and that's good enough. But you see what I mean? Like, it's like good filmmaking usually has some really strong, in-depth characters. But these are almost like cookie cutter simplistic. And it still works. Because what they do have is character arcs. And good characters have arcs. An arc is 2 things. It is a want and it is a need. Now, wants are what the character knows they desire. And needs are the thing they don't know they desire, but fleshes them out as a character. A good character arc will have them achieve what they want, discover through that what they need, and then accomplish that. In a tragic arc, they die before reaching their need because of a fatal flaw, and they don't end up getting it. Either one is valid. And the hero's journey, this is basically the hero's journey. If you don't know what that is, there's this, I think it's John Trudy, I can't be bothered to look it up. There's a whole thing about this. It's a very classic Western storytelling technique. So here, Connor has the great character arc that works in spite of him not being super fleshed out. You've got Call to Adventure. You know, they have the war in Scotland. He finds out he's mortal. He's banished from the village. You have the refusal of the call. He runs into Ramirez, becomes a blacksmith, marries Heather. You got supernatural aid. Ramirez finds him, trains him into being an immortal. Crossing of the first threshold, where he finally gets his training montage, learns that he's immortal and how to fight. You have the Belly of the Whale, where Krugman kills Ramirez. The Road to Trials, where he's threatened in New York City and the quickening approaches. Meeting of the Goddess, where he meets Brenda, and she makes him want to fall in love again. Knows about swords, which shouldn't exist. His sword shouldn't even exist. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire list here, but just know, like, this is probably the most well understood and broken down story structure there is. And you can put thinner characters into it, and they just flourish. And like I said, it's why it breaks the rules. And then you got your symbols. Now, symbols are physical objects that tell you the theme of the story. In this case, one of the symbols are swords. Connor's sword, that Highlander one, it's his attachment to his clan, to his mortality, to his life. And when Heather dies of old age later on, he stabs it into the ground and walks away. The idea of finally leaving his life behind and accepting that he's immortal. And that's what Ramirez's sword represents. It's a sword that shouldn't exist, right? It was built in 600 BC according to the metallurgy things, but the techniques they used to build it didn't exist in the 1400s. It's kind of representative of the Highlanders. You guys shouldn't exist. You guys are way more advanced than you should be at this age. Alright, pause. I hate, and I mean I hate, YouTube movie reviews. I hate theater kids. I hate commie kids. I hate my dad kids. I hate guys who love the box set of the special edition Blu-ray director's cut and they don't even unwrap the movie because I don't know, the sales, you lose its quality when you're like, fuck all that. And thankfully, watching and looking for reviews on this thing, there was no goddamn commies. Not a single person decided to talk about the fall of capitalism through Connor McLeod's blah, 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 blah. But you know what it does have? It has the critical fucking drinker. Drives me nuts.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the f*** is that? What is that? Critical drinker!
His take on this was that it doesn't need a sequel, and his take is garbage. And I mean, we agree on some things in that, but generally speaking, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He just picks popular opinions, ones that other nerds have, and then he repeats them. Makes everybody feel good that they're being validated. So, like, the big reason I don't like it is he breaks the one rule, the one important rule that I've been telling you guys since the start. Watch a movie on the movie's own terms. And I wish he had stuck to just talking shit about Kathleen Kennedy and Captain Marvel, because frankly, this kind of things suck. And he sucks at being able to just enjoy himself. He's the modern Siskel and Ebert. Oh, speaking of Siskel and Ebert, they hated this thing too, so fuck Siskel and Ebert.
Roger takes a look at an action picture called Highlander, and
So I think I can guess what you think of Highlander. I'm going to give my opinion, which is this is sort of like a garage sale
Good.
at the house of a berserk screenwriter.
you got
This
it.
movie,
It's laughable. The movie,
the whole movie is
it's
laughable.
crazyable.
The whole movie is completely ridiculous, and oddly enough,
Actually, I figured out why I hate these guys so much. The nerds, it's not that they watch movies, it's not that they enjoy stories, it's that they collect merch. Like, they wear good stories as a skin suit to a weird collection of trinkets. Like, they want the sword recreation. They like the lore. They want to have a book that shows you how Highlander physiology works, but they don't actually enjoy the fucking thing. So fuck these guys too. I don't talk about it much, but there is good exposition and there is bad exposition. So good exposition sets you up for action later. Bad exposition explains why things are happening. This is a masterclass, by the way, in good exposition. Ramirez. So when Ramirez talks to Connor about his wife, it's not an exposition dump. It's a foreshadowing of the rules of the world. Hey, I had a wife, she got to old age, she died, I've been heartbroken, you live forever, so there's no point falling in love, because all it's going to do is cause you pain. It's not worth 100 years of hardship for 10 years of good marriage, right? Explains the rules. And then, when Connor ends up running into things later, it makes sense. Oh, when he's talking to the girl, and she wants to get busy with him, and he's very standoffish, you get why. Like, I mean, things make sense, and that's good exposition. A bad exposition in storytelling would be give McLeod a goofy orphan sidekick who acts confused and a shitty version of an audience insert. Then he asks McLeod questions they has to explain to him, but he's really explaining it to the audience. That stuff's... And then the plot. I mean, the plot, it's pretty good. You got your Scottish Highlands, McLeod fighting a rival clan in the war. The rivals hire this guy Krugen as a mercenary, wants to kill Connor for some reason, but he fails to. Connor ends up dying elsewhere. He comes back to life though, and so the clan freaks out, exiles him for witchcraft. He leaves, his wife joins him, he becomes a blacksmith. Later on, he runs into this guy Ramirez, who essentially tortures him until he gets the idea, like, you're immortal, dude, I'm gonna keep killing you, and you're eventually gonna figure this out. And then you get a training montage, you get that good exposition I was talking about before, sets up the rules of the game, the character flaws that he has later on. And then at one point, Krugen manages to track him down, but he's out. Ramirez is home, though, and his wife, Heather. So he kills Ramirez, and you don't see it on camera, but I guess he grapes his wife. But she keeps her mouth shut about it. So next up, you got New York City. He's having a fight with a dude in the parking lot, kills the guy, gets arrested, and then gets let out because they don't have evidence or whatever. He finds an old friend of his, who I had to look this name up, Sunda Kostigir. Explains that the quickening is coming and that the game is coming to a close. Oh, good. So Krugman ends up finding the Suda guy, kills him, with some Vietnam vet acting as a witness. Cops now are freaking out. They're trying to find both the Highlanders, adding some difficulty to their ability to have their quickening. because now they have to avoid the police, because once they get incarcerated or shot or whatever, they can't have a sword fight. Then you get a series of scenes where Brenda tries to discover the mystery of the sword. She wants to know. It's built in 600 BC. It shouldn't even exist from the techniques they did. And there's a lot of backstory here, but they don't tell you a lot about MacLeod's adventures through the last 500-600 years. They just hint at it. I mean, there's a point where he saves a little child in the 40s, and she becomes his adopted daughter and elderly co-worker in the film set in the 80s. He has a duel in, I'm not sure if it's France or Britain, because he called some lord's wife a hog. He gets stabbed like 5 times and then apologizes because he was drunk. It's fun. Next up then, so MacLeod finds Crugen at a church. Crugen finds out he raped Heather, who was not Ramirez's wife, but Connor's. So once Crugen stops hiding the church, MacLeod's like, yeah, we're gonna do this. So because Crugen has to be a villain, he kidnaps Brenda, brings her to the rooftop so that MacLeod can meet him there for the final battle. And MacLeod almost loses. But Brenda managed to hit Crugen in the back with a steel pipe, and he gets a little pissed off, buys him just enough time to get his sword back. They have their little last-minute fight, groundswell, kills Crugen, wins the prize. Then he takes Brenda to Scotland. He gets married, he starts a family, and explains what he's won in like an epilogue. He gains the thoughts of everybody around the world in history, and he can be mortal and start a family again. So the end. And before I finish, I just want to say this is why I love the sequel. They took that simple premise there, where he gains like the thoughts and understanding of everybody in the world, makes him the smartest man in the world, and then they just ran with it. And I think more movies need to do that. Give you a thread and then just run wild with it. So yeah, we had a brief period in history where men could watch a movie without being autistic about all the minute details of a cinematic universe, whatever the fuck call me blather that means. And it had, with just enough nudity and violence to keep it lowbrow, with some levity and themes of heroism to clean the palate. It doesn't have snarky women and theater kids, it just has men. It's got villainous men, heroic men, flawed men, competent men, tough men, just awesome men who do things because that's what they do. A movie that knew what it was supposed to be. Fucking awesome. Fun for 90 minutes. It resonates. It took the world of Highlander and created a new take on the classic hero's journey. I mean, and you get everything. You get action, you get laughter, you get sadness, you get love, you get melodrama and fantasy, all in 90 minutes. And not only that, but they did it in a way that was accessible to everybody. And I think it's where we peaked as a society. The themes are ordinary, presented as extraordinary. The story is timeless yet of its time, so what can I say? Enjoy it, because I damn well did. Cheers, fellas.
Here we are, born to be king.